Bit of a warning before watching this video, this deck may make your opponents rage quit since you'll be controlling the state of the game, but unlike regular control decks, we're actually going to be taking knockouts while forcing your opponent to have to potentially knock out 4 2-prize Pokemon thanks to some shenanigans. And of course, I'm talking about the new Iron Thorns EX coming out in Twilight Masquerade. Iron Thorns' ability will make it so no rule box Pokemon have abilities, excluding other future Paradox Pokemon like itself. This means that Radiant Pokemon will effectively be useless in games, set up Pokemon like Rotom V and Squawkabilly EX won't be able to do a thing, and some top tier decks will have their game plan completely shut down like Lugia V-Star, and the other big bad of the format being Charizard EX, who can no longer accelerate multiple energy to itself and will have to manually charge up. Shutting down abilities is great, but it doesn't win you games, so it's a good thing that Iron Thorns has a pretty good attack to go along with it in Bolt Cyclone. You're only going to do 140 damage, but it's enough for you to 2-shot into V-Star Pokemon or 1-shot utility pieces with weakness like Pidgeot EX or Luminion V. It's pretty unlikely your opponent's going to be benching those though, because they effectively have no ability, so they'd just be useless 2-prizers for you to easily 1-shot. But if they do, hey, just instantly gush that up, take it out, and get 2 prizes. You can also scale its damage up a little bit though by using Future Boost Capsule. It's going to give you 20 extra damage while also giving you free retreat, which is pretty relevant since Iron Thorns' attack actually makes you move an energy from it to another Pokemon, which is just going to be another Iron Thorns because that's all that's in this deck. That means that if you don't have an attachment for a turn to get your active back online, you can at least pivot for free back into one that you've just charged up. This isn't the only tool in our belt though, since we also have Handy Fan that will allow you to move an energy from your opponent's active Pokemon after it attacks you. So decks like Charizard, where they're going to have to now manually charge up, they get 1 attack into you and then you just move it off onto another thing, messing up their game plan for the following turn. We're also going to be running multiple counts of Crushing Hammer, so as soon as we see them start to manually charge it up, just try and get that energy off it, or if they do get that 1 hit in you, you move an energy off, you use Crushing Hammer, you get the other energy off, and yeah, they're going to have a really bad time. There's also Bravery Charm in here though, so it gives us a little bit more HP, another tool we can play around with, boosting Iron Thorns up to 280. It's pretty bulky and can allow you to survive some hits, as well as having Penny in here, so after it does tank a hit, we can just scoop it up, put that Bravery Charm onto another one, and be in a pretty good position. And we have some TMs in the deck as well, one being Devolution TM to disrupt our opponent's board if they're rare candy reliant, or allowing us to half-hit large targets and then just devolve them down for easier knockouts, as well as Turbo Energize, giving us a way to quickly charge up a second Iron Thorns. If we're going second, we can use Arven, grab Turbo Energize, get some energy onto a benched one, and be in a pretty good position on the following turn, effectively having 2 attackers ready to go. That isn't the only way to get our Iron Thorns online though, since we have 2 colorless energy in the attack cost, you can be using double Turbo Energy to quickly get online, and since the Future Boost Capsule boosts our damage output by 20, they effectively cancel each other out, keeping us at 140, so we can still 2-shot into V-Star Pokemon like Giratina. The other cheeky energy we're going to be running is Legacy Energy, which is going to count towards the Lightning Energy attack cost we have, while also making it so when we're knocked out, we're giving up 1 less prize. You can only use this once per game, but it will really skew that prize trade. Instead of having to knock out 3 Iron Thorns, all of a sudden opponents have to knock out 4, because if they took out 3 and 1 had this on there, they've only taken 5 prizes, and then it's like, hey, we've now forced you to play a 7-prize game, and your rulebox guys have no abilities, and yeah, you're probably really annoyed you paired me, but I'm having fun. Now that we've covered Iron Thorns' strengths though, let's talk about some of the weaknesses that it does have, and I'm not just talking about the fighting type. The first is the Lost Box matchup. They're not reliant on rule box Pokemon, well not heavily at least. They can't use Greninja and that's kind of whatever. They have Comfey to get online and it isn't a rule box Pokemon. They also have Chorus and Lost Vacuum to quickly get things into the Lost Zone, and then they can start using Mirage Gate to power up their Giratina that can easily one-shot us, even if we have a Bravery Charm attached. They do 280 and that's, yeah, exactly how much health we'd have. To help against that matchup though, we have high counts of Eerie. It lets us look at our opponent's hand and discard 2 item cards that we find there. This is great to remove their switching cards to slow down their Comfeys from getting their Mirage Gates online, or even just removing their Mirage Gates from their hands before they use them, or even take out their Super Rods so they don't have a way to recover Pokemon or energy back into their deck to chain multiple attackers. Eerie's also a great counter for rare candy reliant decks, since you could potentially just discard the rare candies from their hand. It also helps into decks like Chin Power Goldengo, who are going to be very reliant on using energy retrieval cards, because we can just get them right out of there, and Yeah, that's pretty cool. The other weakness Iron Thorns has though is Pokemon that are immune to EX Pokemon, like Mimikyu. Since it's immune due to an ability, we're able to use Canceling Cologne on it though to get past that, and then use Lost Vacuum, so even if they have a Bravery Charm attached, we can still one-shot them. To make sure our opponent can't reuse Mimikyu, yes, we could go the Eerie route and just get rid of their Super Rod so they can't put it back into the deck, or we just put a Lost City in play and make it so, yeah, when we knock it out, it's gone, and it's staying gone. This is also very useful into other decks by taking out key attackers they can't reuse, so single prize decks that want to be just looping themselves, we just go, yeah, hey, that's out of the game, or things that want to evolve, we can just target their pre-evolutions if they only have one in play at a time, Lost Zone it, and they're not getting it back. It makes it harder for them to get another one back onto their board and put them in a really sticky situation. The rest of the deck though, it's pretty straightforward stuff. Since we only have one actual Pokemon in our deck, there's 4 counts of it, but it's just one guy, we're always guaranteed to start it, so we don't need to be reliant on things like Nest Ball or Buddy Poffin. We do have 2 copies of Techno Radar in here though, just to help get 2 more Iron Thorns out onto our bench, and that's usually enough. If we have 3 in play, we're in a pretty good spot, finding that 4th one at some point, so if we get the Legacy Energy playoff, yeah, it's pretty solid. We've also got Pokegear to help us dig through our deck for our supporter cards to make sure we're always getting into them. Combining this with disruptive supporter cards that we have here, Judge, Iono, it's pretty solid, as well as high counts of Arven to ensure that we always get our tools and items when we need them. Plus, we also have 4 counts of Boss's Orders, so we can take out potential threats before they come online, and just make sure we're always hitting the target we're after. Basically means as soon as we see them start to manually attach an energy on something, we can just gust it up and yeah, probably just go to game 2. What are your thoughts on this Iron Thorns build? Are you excited to try it out for yourself, or are you already sitting there trying to figure out how to play the matchup so that when you're sitting across the table from someone, you're not completely in the weeds? I'd love to hear your thoughts on the list in the comments down below, and what deck you'd like to see me cover next. If you found this video helpful in any way, hitting that like button is always a great way to let me know, and subscribing means you won't miss out on the next video. And I almost forgot to mention, if you're keen to start testing this deck today, there's a link in the description for you to start making proxies of the new cards, and if you're unfamiliar with the process of making proxy cards, the video that's popping up on the screen right now will show you how to do that, or there's another video that YouTube thinks you'll like. Till next time though, stay golden, you Goomba.